sometimes when you're going through it, you can meet someone and it can be really beautiful, even if it's fleeting. So I'm at this premiere, right? And I'm sitting with a friend and it's glamorous, and I'm about 8 months out of this broken engagement. And my friend turns to me and she's like, so have you started dating yet? And I'm like, I was just planning a wedding. And then all of a sudden these like two very attractive guys like walk into the theater and sit next to us. And this really cute guy with his tan, with dirty blonde hair and green eyes, he sits next to me and I'm eating my complimentary popcorn, and he opens a bottle of water and he's like, you want a sip? So I say, do you have cooties? And he says, no. And that's it. Then the movie starts and I am like thinking about him the entire time, right? Like, especially during the sex scenes, like I can just feel his every move. But I don't know if he's thinking about me. Like, I mean, he did offer me a sip out of his water bottle. Like, that's kind of flirtatious. And my friend turns in early and I meet another friend and we go to this after party. And so there are celebrities abuzz, and I like go straight to the hummus and I'm like stuffing my face. All of a sudden I see this guy, right? He's like across the room. He's like walking right towards me and I'm like, yes. And then he walks right by me and I'm like, no. And I'm 37 at the time, right? And I'm like, I guess I've reached that age of invisibility that everyone talks about. But then I just can't help myself because it's like the first time I felt like a little bit of a flutter since my broken engagement, because I was walking around with this like gaping hole in my like whole being, and suddenly I felt something come alive. So I call out, I'm like, hey. He's like, hey. And I was like, we were sitting next to each other in the theater. And he was like, oh, yeah, I wasn't sure if that was you. It was so dark. And I was thinking, it wasn't that dark. Anyway, we started talking and it turned out he was 28, which I was bummed out about because I was hoping he was closer to my age. And he told me he had a lot of demons and that he was on again, off again with his ex. I told him about my situation. And finally he's like, you want to smoke? And I was like, no, I get paranoid with marijuana. But do you want to walk me home? I was like, sure. So we're walking, he lights a joint, and we see this like VIP dog park. And I say to him, oh, that's the VIP dog park. Fancy dogs go there. He's like, oh yeah, you want to go in? And I'm like, well, it's locked. And all of a sudden, before I could do anything, he jumps up, he climbs over, and he's inside the VIP dog park, opens the door for me, and I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna get arrested. He's like, you don't like to break the rules, do you? Like, sort of like looking around, no one's around. So now we're in this VIP dog park where, there are perfectly coiffed bushes and rocks and like all these things for dogs to pee on. And we sit on a stone bench. And, I look around and I'm like, do you think we're gonna I don't wanna go to jail. And he laughed, I'd love to see you in jail. Oh my God, that's the last thing I need, I told him. I spent the night in the can once, he said. He relit his joint. You did? I was worried that I could get a contact high. I owed tickets for skateboarding and I had a warrant out for my arrest. I feel like a lot of guys spend the night or two in jail, I said. The mosquitoes like had it in for me, and I had to take my thumb and make those crisscrosses on them. And he says, I'm not quite a man. He said that to me. And I laughed. He didn't take offense. He said, I may have a man's body, but I still have a lot of growing up to do, a lot of maturing. I said, that's a lot more evolved than many men would say. And then he looked at me in earnest, and I ran my hand through his hair, gripped it firmly, rolled his head round. We made out for a while. We kissed and I scratched my legs, and we kissed and I scratched, and we kissed and I scratched. I was twisted like a corkscrew. Eventually I said, could we switch sides? He was like, is it your back? And I must have said something, but I didn't remember because I used to have back problems, but like they were so much better. And I really don't like people to know about my weakness, and I want to be perfect. So I'm like, it's so much better. He sat on one side of me, but I was still torqued. I felt fragile, but wise in a kind of somber way. Through the corner of my eye, Miley Cyrus was on a billboard, and she had this pink bubblegum rotary phone handle to her ear, and I made this joke. I was like, oh, she's calling our exes. And this like hit him really hard, and he was like, oh God, no. He crossed his outstretched legs and he said, you'll find the right guy. You'll have your white picket fence. I don't want a white picket fence. Kind of hurt my feelings, honestly, that he didn't even pretend to be the one. You know what I mean. You'll have your version of it. You'll be okay. How do you know? Because you're open and honest and kind. I just know it. Thank you, I said. Feel like we're having a breakup. Scratch my legs aggressively. Look. I show him all the bites. Count at least 7. I was hoping maybe he'd be kind of impressed. He wasn't. He was like, you want to go? And I was like, okay, let's go. I didn't really want to go, but the mosquitoes. He walked out of the dog park like we belonged. On the block, we passed these 2 sloshed guys. He stopped and he relit his joint. I waited a few feet ahead. You can tell. On the block, we passed these 2 sloshed guys. He stopped and he relit his joint. I waited a few feet ahead. You can tell I don't smoke. Lucky you, one of the guys calls out to him. I've got issues, he calls back. Yeah, your issue is 5 feet in front of you. They spoke about me like I didn't have ears, words between men. We briskly walked past them. What was that about? I knew. I just wanted him to look at me like he felt lucky. I don't know, he said. They were drunk, clearly. We necked in front of my parents' place. I was worried that my landlord, Joy, would send my father another slut-shaming text because I made out with a guy a few years before in the lobby. He hugged me, right? Forcefully. Intensely. I had this feeling that I was never going to see him again. So I said, we should exchange numbers. Of course, I wanted him to say that, but I just couldn't. I couldn't. Or do you think we'll never see each other again? What's your number? He grabbed his phone and got my digits. I just say goodbye to people like that. I don't know why. His light blue shirt was partially unbuttoned, unveiling tan skin. I fell into him, which felt like a warm sigh. I gripped his muscular arms under his long sleeves. He ran his hand down my back and grabbed my ass. My leg wrapped around him. It felt so good. Maybe we'd even have sex. Could I handle it without expectation? I didn't know. I wish I'd worn perfume. If we keep hooking up, I don't know if I'll be able to stop, he said. It would be irresponsible of me to have sex with you. Why? I whispered, tears pooling, but not spilling. Because you're too vulnerable right now. Of course, that made me want him more. The pot will help with my blue balls, he joked. I'm sorry. You should never apologize for that. It wasn't really, I said coyly. Is that a Warhol on the wall? He asked, looking up into a brightly lit window on the 2nd floor across the street. Yeah, of Marilyn Monroe. No one's ever really there except for some trust fund kids who come and go. They keep the light on all the time. Crazy, he said. And then he looked at me with his shining green eyes. I should go before you know. Yeah, I know. Thank you for being my first kiss since my ex. You're going in my book. And he kissed me harder. He kissed me even better. And then he walked away. And he turned around